If I were to ask you right now how much money your business brought in last month, how quickly would you be able to answer? Now, top line revenue might not be too hard to find, so let's try another one. What if I asked you how much of that revenue was due to a specific product or service, and if that amount was higher or lower than the previous month? Once we get down into some of those specifics, the answers can often be a lot harder to find, especially if you're selling your product, service, courses, memberships, or subscriptions across more than one sales platform. So today, I'm going to show you how powerful it can be to ditch the countless spreadsheets and logins to multiple platforms and pull all of your sales information together in one easy-to-access dashboard. If you're new here, my name is Kari, and I help businesses with messy metrics clean them up so they can make clear, confident decisions based on their business numbers. When I first started building custom dashboards for clients, I have to say I was a bit surprised that tracking the real-time sales data was such an eye-opener to them. Nearly every client has pointed to this part of their dashboard as being the most helpful and the part that they reference most often. I think it really boils down to how hard it is to pull all of this information together in an easy way when you sell multiple things across multiple platforms. The tools we use don't often speak well to each other, so you're left with fragmented data that you're trying to piece together into something that makes sense. I'd love to take you through a tour of one of these sales dashboards to see the type of information you could have at your fingertips and how those numbers can help you to make better decisions in your business. Let's dive in. So here we are inside of a typical sales dashboard that I would create. Again, this is very dependent on the type of business you have and the type of products that you sell, but overall this will give you a good idea of what you're able to see and why it's so incredibly powerful to have these numbers at your fingertips. We're going to go through this section by section, so we're not looking at too many things at once. Now, everything you'll see here is based on sample data that I've prepared, as my client data is always kept confidential, and this entire dashboard is fed from a Google Sheet that pulls together all of your sales in an automated way in the background. The best part about this is that it's always updated to within about 15 to 30 minutes. One of the great features of these dashboards is the ability to see your numbers in different cross sections of time, as we have a date range selector in the top right corner to choose whichever date range you'd like. We're currently looking at about 2 months worth of data, but you can easily adjust this to include the months prior as well. So let's take a look at some of the other totals that are right at the top of the dashboard for easy access. First, we have total sales and total refunds that were issued during that time period that has been selected, as well as the net sales, which is the difference between those first two metrics. I know how hard it can be to see these numbers easily, especially when you sell from multiple platforms simultaneously. But by centralizing all of that sales information, you only have one place you need to check, which is a huge time saver and minimizes a lot of confusion. Next, we have the total number of transactions, the number of refunds, as well as your average order value during that time period. This number is a great one to keep an eye on and try to increase over time. If customers are already buying from you, you can test out different order bumps and upsells that complement your base offer in order to serve your customers at an even higher level. It might be a little bit difficult to see in the video, but each of these metrics also includes a comparison to the previous time period so you can see how things are changing over time. In this particular example, we have about 60 days selected, so you'll see the current numbers are compared to the 60 days prior. The last metric you'll see here is your customer lifetime value. When I compile the sales data to create this kind of dashboard, I include all of your historical data so you have the largest reference range possible. And the lifetime value of your customer is also a number you want to be tracking and see increasing over time. The easiest person to sell to is someone who has previously purchased from you, so always be thinking about the next problem that you can solve for them. Next, I like to have a nice, easy to read chart that shows which products are driving net revenue. In this particular example, we have 4 different products, all of which are one-time purchases. We're able to easily see the number of units sold, the net sales driven by each of the different products, and the percentage of the total net revenue that product is responsible for. As you make decisions about which products to prioritize when it comes to your marketing, or the time and energy needed for your team to execute on these products or services, these numbers can be incredibly important. I often see that creating products or services can be quite emotionally driven, and having concrete numbers helps us to see things a little bit more objectively. Perhaps you see that one of your offerings isn't bringing in nearly the revenue that you thought it was, or maybe your top revenue driver comes as a surprise. So for example, I had one client who, when they saw how much monthly revenue was generated by their membership, realized that the investment of time by them and their team was far too much to keep that membership open. Another client didn't know that 80% of her revenue was coming in from one specific digital product that she hadn't even been promoting, and realized that by putting some marketing effort behind that item, she could have a dramatic increase in sales. A fun addition to this dashboard is the product name selector, as it allows us to see even more detail on each of the products we sell. So for example, if I select my life-changing course, and click Only, you'll see that all of these charts update to show you only the results for that particular product. Also, if this product happened to have charges and rebills, it would also amalgamate all of those numbers together as well. And you're able to see the breakdown for that period of time, again, just for that specific product. So the total sales, the number of refunds, the number of transactions, and the average order value. The next section of this dashboard we're going to look at shows how net revenue changes by month. I find this number can often be really difficult to find without digging into multiple profit and loss statements or your bookkeeping software. And it's really nice to be able to see a bar chart that shows the previous year so you can see how things are actually progressing. The next chart, again, shows monthly totals, but this one shows how things change year over year. So for this particular data set, the first data that came in was November of 2021. And you can see the 2021 results are in this dark blue. The ones for 2022 are in dark teal, and then for 2023 are in this lighter teal color. And this chart answers the question, are you actually seeing growth month over month? And historically, how does sales change throughout the year? This can help you to understand seasonality and trends in your business. You might have slower months and months where you typically have more sales, and to see how specific marketing campaigns have impacted your business over the past 12 months. This helps with forecasting revenue and also to make decisions about upcoming marketing focuses and campaigns. For example, a client of mine was able to use this data to help plan their marketing calendar for the next 6 months. There was discussion about skipping an upcoming month for marketing, but the data in their year-over-year comparison chart showed that particular month was typically one of their top revenue generators. Without this information at their fingertips, they could have easily overlooked a time of year when their customers were more apt to purchase from them. The last charts on this dashboard show the splits between the payment processor and purchase platform that's used most often. So many online businesses sell using multiple payment processors and from multiple platforms, and by pulling everything together into one sales tracker, we're creating one place you can reliably go to for all of your sales data. From here, you're able to extrapolate all of the sales information you want to know and have at your fingertips, and it's incredibly powerful to have this in one place. If you sell on multiple platforms, I think you probably know how challenging it is to pull all of your individual numbers together and combine them in a way that actually makes sense. This makes that a snap, as everything is automated and your numbers automatically populate each day, week, month, etc. While your payment processor and sales platform data might not be something you need all the time, it can be really helpful to reference if you're trying to decide how to go forward with payment processors or if you should continue selling on a particular platform. You can easily check your dashboard and see how often is that actually being used and is it changing over time. And remember, you can select different time periods to be able to see those changes. So one quick note as I zoom out here, the product selector impacts everything on the sales dashboard with the exception of lifetime value, which is an ongoing running calculation. So for example, we can choose only one product from the selector and then get a snapshot of exactly how that product has performed over time, including total revenue, total number of returns, how many sales happened by month over the past year, and the total overall performance of the product since its original launch. So let's come in here and choose another amazing course. We'll choose only. And you can see that all of the values on this dashboard have updated to reflect only this particular product. We can see huge jumps in revenue for particular months. Maybe this is when it was launched. And maybe we start to see that there's opportunities in other months here to be able to set this on evergreen and to be able to have more revenue coming in. We can also see over time how sales are going. Is it growing over time? Is it something where we need to nurture the marketing a little bit more? Do we need to make sure that the people in the program are satisfied and we're getting really great testimonials? All of this information can be found here, and it's a great tool to be able to get more specificity on exactly what is selling in your business. So again, this is one of the most powerful dashboards that my clients enjoy. When I set up overall marketing measurement, this dashboard usually isn't the main thing clients ask for, but it is almost always the one that ends up getting used the most and provides the most accurate picture of exactly what's going on in their business. Yes, you can pull some of this information from your accounting program or from your P&L every month, but one of the downsides of relying solely on your P&Ls is that typically due to the way that bookkeeping is done, it's not in real time. It could be 4 to 6 weeks before your bookkeeping is up to date. Instead, with these kind of automations in place, sales literally show up in your dashboard within 15 to 30 minutes, enabling you to see which sales are taking place and give you the ability to make decisions quickly. Thank you so much for joining me for this tour through a sales dashboard. I hope it really helps you to see all of the incredible things that your data can help you to understand, and also to see how it informs great decision making when you have numbers that you're able to rely on. And if you'd like to learn more about what you can learn from your numbers, please click the link below to grab a copy of my free guide, 5 questions your data can answer for you. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.